Hi, welcome. Thanks for joining me for this storytelling. So, I'm going to tell a story about my journey through inclusivity and race and just what's been going on for me and where I'm at in the journey. It's interesting. I've been thinking about things like how deep you go into things or how far and how many different things you get into, right? And how many layers deep things actually have. And then if you go really deep in one or two things, then how much capacity do you have for all the other things? And as far as this topic goes, I still feel as though I'm just kind of brushing the surface of it. But I have gone through, okay, wait, and I've gone through a lot of interesting emotions and had some interesting experiences and conversations. And I just think it's time to share my story and where I'm at, even though I think there's more depth and more to explore. So, I think it was May of 2018, I realized that I didn't really know that much about Black culture. I knew a little bit. I I understood a couple things. I knew the main thing I knew, what I recognized, in the spring of 2018 was that there was a lot more that I didn't know, and that was an issue for me. That there was more about the hashtag Black Lives Matter that I wasn't really getting, that I didn't understand the problem or the dilemma. And so that took me back to kind of what was my current narrative. Well, race doesn't matter. Everybody's equal. That's what I was taught. And growing up in a very diverse community outside of Washington, D.C., there were lots of races represented all over the place. And I didn't really see people being mistreated because of the color of their skin or because of their accents or whatever. I didn't see it. Doesn't mean that it wasn't there. It just means I didn't see it and I didn't understand that it was a problem. And so comes to January, February, March, April, May, the beginning of 2018, I realizing, okay, I've had some people tell me that this is an issue still. I don't really understand how it's an issue. And I opened up to the universe energetically. Universe, please tell me, please show me, please bring people into my life to help me understand exactly what the issue is or what some of the issues are. And let me see, bring more people of color into my life, bring more hard conversations into my life. Like it was just like me energetically asking the universe, like, I want to learn more about this and I don't know. I don't know what I don't know. So then I started interacting more with people of color and having really deep conversations about just Black Lives Matter and what was going on. And I started to the the circle, like if this is the circle of what I know, and this was the circle of what I know I don't know. Like I knew there was stuff I didn't know. And then everything outside of it, all the stuff that I didn't even know that I didn't know. Some of that stuff started to moving into the inner circle of I don't really know this. I know that I don't know this. So some more things started moving into my awareness of, oh, I don't really know anything about that. And it really didn't change. I didn't really change a lot. I didn't start to go through hard emotional things until I started dating someone of color. And when I started dating someone of color, I started to see how they were treated. I started to see how they were treated at the store. I started to see how they were treated in the yoga room. I started to see more than was pleasant, to say the least. You know, when you're with someone and people yell out of their car to make fun of the person that you're with, and they're born an American citizen, it was kind of, it was really eye-opening. That was New Year's Eve last year. New Year's Eve time frame last year is when I realized, wow, you're being made fun of, and literally the only thing that that person sees is the color of your skin, and then they make assumptions and make fun of you. It started to blow my mind. I started to realize that if we went into a room and my partner didn't say anything, people might treat him differently until he opened his mouth or until they knew that he was with me. Started to blow my mind. And I went through a lot of emotions. I went through, I feel very, very honored to be dating someone who isn't white. I highly recommend it because there's just, it's allowed me to have a lot more intimate conversations about race, about Black culture, about Indian culture, about Trinidadian culture, about third culture kids. You know, that's a whole another interesting topic, third culture kids. Basically means when your parents grew up in another culture, moved to the US and had you, and then you have your parents' culture, you have the culture you're in, and then you have like a kind of like a mixed culture. It's really interesting. And there's a lot of third culture kids in America. There's a lot of third culture kids that are my friends. Anyways, so as my personal emotional journey goes, you know, I had white fragility at first. I didn't know how to talk about the issues, and they made me nervous, and I wasn't sure like if I was going to say the wrong things at the wrong time. I still don't know that. But I'm not, it doesn't make me scared. It doesn't make me worried anymore. It was a journey though. There was, and then there was like a mourning. I think there was emotion, there was so much sadness that I went through for Black culture specifically. There was sadness I went through with yoga as a spiritual practice that's been whitewashed in America. And I love white people. Like I'm not like I'm not like anti-white people now. You know, I love all people. You know, I love, and I can understand that. You know, before I would say I love diversity, which is a little bit ignorant. I do love diversity. That's true, and it's not easy to have diverse communities because there's a lot of things that we don't know about, things that we don't know about. And so I went through a period where I hated white privileged culture. I didn't like my peers. I didn't want to interact with the Ayurveda health coaches because I felt like they were so entitled and that maybe we weren't, as a community, recognizing Indian culture enough. I mean, I went through a lot of emotions this year around this. I listened to the 1619 podcast, which is, I believe, a more accurate telling of history than what's in the history books of Black people in America. You know, Black people started our whole market. Like, capitalism was started by Black people. Like, Black people, like, it's just that we owe them so much, and then yet they still feel uncomfortable when they walk into situations where there's lots of white people. It's just kind of ridiculous. There's this I think there's an unspoken narrative in a lot of white people's minds that like white is better. Right? When you hear someone talk about someone beautiful, like a woman that's beautiful, it's usually blonde hair, blue eyes. Well, I don't know about you, but I have a lot of really gorgeous Black friends. You know, I don't, it, but there's something in the white culture where we're the better culture. Like, oh, we're white, so that's the right culture, or that's the way to do it, or that's the better culture. I mean, white culture is responsible for colonialism, which wasn't really a great thing. I mean, there's just it's just kind of mind-boggling. So, this video is getting kind of long, but I just wanted to share the story of my story so far of learning about other cultures, learning about other people and other races and their experiences and what it's like for them. I sit and try to imagine, like, what would it be like if I was Black or even Indian, doesn't matter, if I was a person of color and I went into a yoga studio where everyone was white, where all their advertising was white, where they're talking about, equality and, yoga's for everyone, and then not seeing anything that made me feel welcomed. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. Anyways, I have a lot more to learn on this. I don't consider myself not ignorant. I still feel very ignorant about race and culture appreciation. I'm definitely still learning a lot. There is behaviors that I have changed though, and there is words that I won't use now. And there is um, different things that I make it a point to share on social media or to say to be more inclusive to all. And really talking mostly to a lot of white people because the problem is white people don't have to care that race is still an issue. And that's the issue. So I'm choosing to care, I'm choosing to share my story, and I will continue doing so in hopes be a to help create a positive change so that we can move towards more inclusive communities, more inclusive advertising, more inclusive yoga studios. And I'm so grateful that the yoga studio that I helped found is probably the most diverse and inclusive in this area. I will brag about that anytime because I'm honored that even though it was me and two white dudes that originally started that studio, that all people feel welcome there. Um, so that makes me really happy. Uh, but there's so many times I've probably offended people and didn't even know it. Or mostly it's a lot of work in your unconscious mind. It's a lot of, you know, it's dark at night and someone's walking and then you feel scared. Well, okay, so do I feel more scared because that person's Black or am I scared because it's nighttime? And like going through those kinds of thoughts, like, wait a second, is that a is that coming from the white culture ideas, white is the best, Black people are scary? Because that's racist. And so it's not like gone. I still have these ignorant and not helpful programming from, I don't know, the first 33 years of my life. And so it's a journey. It's just a journey. And I wanted to share this on the blog because it's been a really it's been a really good journey. It's not been a fun journey. It hasn't been an easy journey, uh, but it's a really powerful, good journey. And I don't believe that the color of your skin makes you a better or worse person. I never have. And to make sure that that doesn't unconsciously come through in my actions or words or advertising or whatever is really important to me. So, to all of my Black friends that are watching this, or Indian, or anybody of color, or minority of any type, because I also love all my Asian friends. Like, don't get confused here. Um, thank you for your patience. Thank you for um, yeah, just being patient with white people and especially me. And anyone that's white, like, just think about why you think about certain things. Just notice when you see a bunch of people that are a minority or people of color, what happens in your mind? Just notice it. Is it accurate and true? Or is it white culture, white supremacy programming that is in your mind. I don't know. So this is my story. I didn't really know what I didn't know. And now I still know that there's lots that I don't know. But I think it's important to start to do this work on some level. And a lot of it is inner work. There's not a lot, it's not Black people's responsibility to teach you about Black culture. If you if you're white and you don't think race is an issue, you're the problem. Your ignorance is the problem. And you can't ask your Black friends to tell you what's up. If you have a really close one, really close Black friend, maybe they might be willing to talk to you about it and you can ask in a really nice way. For the most part, you need to start to learn on your own more about other cultures. Start to, like, the podcast 1619 is great, is a great way to just start to understand more about what you don't know about. So anyways, hopefully this has encouraged you to do some of the hard work around race and culture. And that that's a lot of what I've been doing this year, is crying, crying alone, you know, mourning lots of things, sad, really sad about slavery, really crazy that segregation wasn't really that long ago, and it's still like there's still like it's mind-boggling to me, um, that it's still so prevalent everywhere. This is still a really big issue. Just imagine that you're Black going into a room full of white people. Or better yet, you could do what I do, go to places where you are the only white person and see how it feels. It's definitely different. So anyways, I love you. Thank you for taking the time to watch this. And if you have watched it, then the universe probably does want you to do some of that inner work and to examine, you know, why do you think white people are better if you do, if you're white? What is that about? Where does it come from? I don't think Jesus was white. Just saying. All right, I'm gonna end this now.